Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country, wherever you are. Here we are once again. It's another Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning at 1 a.m. in London, 3 a.m. in Israel, and it's 10 a.m. in Tokyo. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talk Back Live. Here we are once again, and we gathered around, and we're here with you. I'm going to be here for the next hour. And within that hour, we do what we normally do. We get involved in conversation. And of course, we have a lot of fun on the program as well. And we're so glad that you're out here wherever you are, because we're all around the world. We're global. We're everywhere and anywhere you can be, as long as you have good Wi-Fi. And when we get together each week at this time, I just want to explain how it all operates, just in case some of you are new. When we get together each week, of course, I start the conversation as the host of the show, get things rolling and get things set up. And while we're doing that, you can chime in anytime you want. All you have to do is use your keyboard and your little fingers, and you type on that keyboard for whatever you want to say. I'll see you right there on the big screen. And of course, I will acknowledge you. And even if you just want to say hi or whatever you want to say, and if you have a particular conversation that you want to lay out right through the show, we'll be glad to entertain that for you. As I said, just type it in and I'll see you right there. And those of you who are watching us for the first time, you ought to know that we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're live each week. And of course, you could choose any one of those three sources and you won't go wrong. And for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please take the time right now to tag, if not all of your friends, some of your friends, abundance of your friends, and let's make this a brand new year where we get more people involved. All you have to do is just tag them. They'll see that notification, they'll know it's from you, and all they have to do is just click onto that tag, and it brings directly to us right here where we are. And that's all you have to do. So please do that right away. You guys who are watching us on YouTube, well, I always encourage you, and I will continue to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't done it thus far, this is a good time to do it. And you want to make it a brand new year by doing that. And all you have to do is take your mouse, drag it over to where it says subscribe, click onto it, and it's right there. It's no problem. And it doesn't cost you anything. No money is involved, no fees, no union dues, no nothing. Everything is free. We never ask for money of any sort. So everything we do here is free. All you have to do is just show up each week and you're right there. And of course, you know, the reason why we would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel is because it'll give you a chance to know that whenever we come on live, you will get that instant notification, providing you're online. It'll let you know that we're on the air. Even if we so much as post a video of some sort, a notification will pop up that lets you know that we're busy out there and you can come in and see what we're doing. And so with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, please do that right now. Subscribe to us. And of course, we want you to be part of us, be part of the action right here as you do each week. And tell your friends about it, because if they like what they see and if they like what they hear, they'll be coming back again and again, hopefully just like you. And for the rest of you who are watching us on Instagram, well, there's nothing that you have to do special except for just keep telling your friends and keep passing the word along that we're on the air and we want them part of the action just as you are each week. And of course, that'll do it for all of us. We are going to be here, as I said, for a whole full hour. I hope that you're going to be here with me. If you don't want to indulge in conversation, that's quite all right too. But as long as you're out there, that's the most important thing. I want you to do that. Now, when we interact with you, we do other things on the show too, because we have a program here. So we have to keep the show rolling. And of course, you can keep typing in or whatever you want to do, and I'll see you. I'll say hi. Even if you just want to say hi, that would be great too. So I want to say hi to all of you guys in advance, all of you guys watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. So Here's what we do each week as part of what we do outside of talking to you too. We have things that we do on the show. For instance, in just a few minutes from now, we're going to have sports coming along. And Brian Camp normally comes in. We link up with him via the screen. You'll see him right on the screen live. He comes here and he brings us the latest developments in today's world of sports. However, he has the day off, so he was kind enough to leave material for us to convey to you. So in just a few minutes from now, not too long from now, we'll have sports for you. And of course, later on in the program too, shortly after that, we'll have what we call This Day in History. We just go down the line of what happened on this day, December 28th, and go back in time and see what happened on this day in history and different events, all kinds of good stuff. That's all coming up too. And before the show is over too, we also like to give you all of those great movies that we talk about so much. They're great movies because they're my picks of the week and they're all classics from Turner Classic Movies. That's what we do each week because a lot of you may spend your weekend doing something. And one of the things that you might want to do is catch up on some movies. And so we have a few movies we just want to add to your list to put there for you to watch, just in case you just want to sit back and relax. Because, you know, here we are, we're at the Christmas season. This is Christmas holiday weekend. And of course, maybe a lot of you didn't watch movies. You were out with friends and family and doing whatever you do. But just in case, I have that for you. So that's coming up. It's all coming up right here on Talkback Live. And I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. You know, it's a little slow. All of the cities are still slow, even though it's somewhat back to normal, but not quite. And the reason why I say that is because Christmas is over. Some people went back to work, and some people will continue to work through the rest of the week. For those of you who have the luxury of not having to go to work until after the New Year's holiday, well, that's pretty good too. Just like my producer, Al Dale. You know, he took off. Dave Taylor too, they took off, but I have Donna Stanky here and I have Sandy Pierce here. So they're helping me along the way with the show. And so far it's working out okay. And so everybody's taking off. So I'm saying, you know, Al is off, Dave is off, Brian is off. Well, what can you say? But I think Brian will be back tomorrow. He'll be back tomorrow. I talked to him earlier. He'll be back tomorrow. Actually, he's in New York, but he's just at an event, I think, right now. And so that doesn't allow him to do the sports today. So we're going to take care of everything. We keep the show. The show must go on. And everybody took off. Now, a lot of people have taken off. And I hope if you were one of the ones that have taken off, going places, flying off to different places to family and friends and checking out what's happening, you know, on the other side of the world, wherever you've been traveling. I hope you got there safe. You know, when you come back, everyone seems to want to come back at the same time. So New Year's Day is Monday. So I'm assuming that the day after, that's when people will start traveling back and maybe still take that rest of the week off. But for the rest of you who are doing local stuff here, you probably won't go back to work. You'll go back to work on Tuesday, you know, because that's when everything is over. It's all over. Tuesday, it's all over. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen with a lot of people who are making those long distance travels, you know, and then maybe some people will come back early and beat the crowd so they can get back to work. Nevertheless, your job will be back here when you get back. So don't worry about it. It'll all be great. By the way, we're coming to you live from New York. That's where we originate. And so no matter where you are around the world or across the country, it doesn't matter. We're global. You can't go anywhere on God's green earth and not pick us up. We're here. And if you're in a great place where they have good hot spots and good Wi-Fi, you can pick us up very easily. We're all around the world. So we thank you so much for being along with us. Yeah, so, you know, this is the time of the year where I love it coming. I love when Christmas comes, but this is the part of the time of the year when the New Year's come around, that light at the end of the tunnel comes on. You know what that makes me think of? It makes me think of summertime. Now, I'm not going to rush anything, but I know, you know, for some people, Christmas can be a hectic time of the year because, people are concentrating on a lot of things. They're concentrating on gift giving, spending a lot of money, doing a lot of traveling, and it can become a real pain sometimes, especially if you're going through airports. Now, those of you who fly, know what airports are all about, know how hectic it can be, know what a pain it can be. But I hope that wherever you are, your destination, you got there safe, and you will get back safe. You will return safe. Okay, so here we are, and we thank you again for being along with us. As I told you, we're going to be here until the top of the hour, the next hour, because we're here each week at this time. And remember that all of the views and the opinions expressed on this show, Talkback Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinions of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any other social media outlet or broadcast publication. Well, when you get back, a lot of you people are going to be making New Year's resolutions and things like that. Some of you are not. I, for one, don't, for the simple reason I never keep it. But for those of you who have plans for the new year, I hope they're good ones. And a lot of people who live in New York may be traveling back early to get back in time for New Year's Eve. Now, some people want to do that because now they want to go over to Times Square and see the ball drop. So all of that, there's a lot of celebrations going on, and it's all happening. And we also want to say happy Kwanzaa. See, we're still in the Kwanzaa season right now. We're still Kwanzaa. So I want to say happy Kwanzaa because that's what we're celebrating now. And it'll all be over soon, and we'll be getting back to business. And of course, we'll all be a year older. So there you go. Okay, and I hope that you had a chance, ladies and gentlemen, to take the time out before you made your travels, because you already know that the variant peaked a little bit, right? So people are still wearing their masks, and when they're going out on flights, they want to make sure that they're protected. I hope one of the things that you did before you left, that you have taken your shots. Of course, the flu season is still here, it's still in effect. And of course, I hope that you have taken that already. But what I'm hopping on right now is taking those, the very updated version of the COVID-19 vaccination. Now, if you haven't taken that yet, and you went out of town, well, I just hope that you dodged a bullet somehow, because we're still at the season where it spiked a little bit, the variant spiked a little bit, and people are still wearing their masks on the planes, on the buses, although some places where you go is definitely not mandatory. As a matter of fact, not even on the planes, they're not mandatory. But people are taking caution. They're proceeding with caution, and that's what they're doing, so they're wearing their mask. And I hope that you're taking your shots. Now, if you haven't taken yours yet, and you didn't go out of town, well, that's I guess that's a good thing, but you can take that. And then those of you who are out of town and you're on your way back, make sure that that's one of the things that you definitely want to do when you get back in town is to take the COVID-19 test. It can't hurt you. And if you're up to date on that, it's a great thing. It keeps you out of the hospital, keeps you from death door. As you already know, COVID is no longer a death sentence, although you can still get sick. And by the way, because you take the shot, that doesn't mean you can't contract it. But the good news is that after a few days, in isolation from everyone, you can come back and do normal things like everyone else. So everything looks good so far. And of course, we're still in the midst of the holiday season. Now, I don't know what you guys are going to do for the New Year's holiday, but listen, I got to tell you, it can be dangerous. And your big crowds, especially I talk to my friends here in New York, and those of you who are planning to come out to New York just to see the ball drop, what I'm going to have to advise you to do is make sure that you get there hours before the event, because people are going to be there in droves. It's going to be big. It's a big event. It's a big event that happens each year. And of course, you want to get there to get yourself a nice spot close to the stages where you can see all the entertainment and everything that comes along with it. And at the stroke of midnight, when the ball drops, that would be great. Now, I got to be honest with you. As long as I've been in New York, and I'm born and raised here, as long as I've been here, I have never once ever seen the ball drop. or at one particular time they had the Apple, it dropped. But in any event, I've never been to a New Year's celebration in Times Square. They said, well, you should do it just at least once, But then again, being born and raised in this city, there's a lot of things I still have never done. I've never been on top of the Empire State Building. I've never been to the Statue of Liberty. I've never, now I can hear you saying, boy, you are such a lame. But maybe, who knows? Maybe one of these days I will. Anyway, we thank you for being along with us. So stay with us, because we have a lot to talk about. Again, if you have anything you want to talk about, please feel free, type it in whatever you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it together. Actor Kamar de los Reyes of the popular daytime drama One Life to Live died after a brief cancer battle. The actor died on Christmas Eve in Los Angeles, and he's survived by his wife, Sherry, who he married in 2007 and co-starred on One Life to Live with him. And he was also survived by 3 sons and his parents and 3 siblings. He was 56 years old. Mike Nussbaum, one of the oldest working actors in the US industry, who appeared in such films such as Men in Black and Field of Dreams, has died at his home in Chicago. Nussbaum died of natural causes last Saturday, just 6 days short of his 100th birthday. Obviously, he was 99 years old. And here's another bit of news here. Tommy Smothers, half of the Smothers Brothers and the host of one of the most socially conscious and groundbreaking television shows in the history of the medium, has died. The National Comedy Center, on behalf of his family, said in a statement Wednesday that Smothers died Tuesday at his home in Santa Rosa, California, following a cancer battle. He was 86 years old. We keep all of our prayers open to all of people who have passed away. And with that in mind, I just want to say something that since we're talking about people who no longer are with us, who have passed away, I just wanted to mention the fact that if you're a radio person, a news person, you probably know the name of Tom Foti. Tom Foti passed away just a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact. I woke up that morning and I just got the news right away. Tom Foti for years, he's been working at CBS Radio, the CBS Radio Network, and of course, UPI2, a top-notch broadcaster. Tom Foti and I knew each other from way back. We went to college together, and we also worked at the same college radio station together. That was our upbringing when we started in broadcasting. And it was a shock to me. And because it was the reason why it was such a shock, because I was in touch with Tom just 2 days prior to his death, just 2 days. And so I'm kind of like still, have that in the back of my head. It's a hard thing to shake, but yeah, he passed away. Also, there's a broadcaster also who was in New York, and then he did a network thing. You might have known the name Rivers. Last name is Rivers, Bobby Rivers. Bobby Rivers, a broadcaster. He did some local stuff here in New York, but he was also on the Food Network, and he did other things. So Bobby Rivers, Tom Foti, and no longer with us. They didn't get a chance to see the New Year's. They saw Christmas, but they didn't get a chance to see the New Year's. So God bless them all. And for the rest of you, stay safe. Stay in touch with health. And that's one of the things I always promote. Okay, Brian Camp, as I said, has the day off, so we have a little sports action for you. So we're going to get that going. Let's start with the NCAA football. Now, you know that New Year's Day, it's a great day for football. And number 4, Alabama, and number 1, Michigan, they're going to be playing at 5 p.m. on ESPN. That's 5 p.m. Eastern. Also, number 3, Texas versus number 2, Washington at 8:45 p.m. also on ESPN. And on this day, December 28th, 1957, CBS states it was broadcasting or won't broadcast baseball where Major League Baseball games are on. In 1975, the Hail Mary with 32 seconds Leff was born from Starbuck Parsons. And 1991, 8 people crushed to death at a basketball game at CCNY City College in New York. Okay, and birthdays, we've got in 1952, you have Ray Knight, Major League Baseball third baseman. He was born in Albany, Georgia. In 1959, Everson Walls, NFL player, was born in Dallas, Texas. In 1973, Bobby Taylor, an NFL player, was born in Houston, Texas. And in 1979, James Blake, an American tennis player, born in Yonkers, New York. Other news in sports, the Detroit Pistons now have an unfortunate record all to themselves, and another one is in reach. The Pistons on Tuesday set the NBA record for the longest losing streak in a single season, dropping their 27th consecutive game with a 112 to 118 loss to the Brooklyn Nets in Detroit. Detroit could soon tie the NBA's overall record losing streak, which is 28 games lost. Philadelphia 76ers hold that overall mark, which spanned 2 seasons and end of the 2014-2015 season and start to the next one. The Pistons lost Tuesday's game despite 41 points from the guard Cade Cunningham. Cameron Johnson and Mikal Bridges led the Nets with 24 and 21 points, respectively. Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has a sprained AC joint in his throwing shoulder, but the coach Doug Pederson says he could practice later this week. The Jaguars host Carolina on Sunday, with Jacksonville trying to end the 4-game losing streak and keep alive hopes of making postseason for the second time in as many seasons. And Australia paced bowling captain Pat Cummins struck twice in 4 balls to crush Pakistan's their comeback attempt on the second day of the second cricket test on Wednesday. Pakistan started strongly when then they collapsed, and they reached 194-6 in reply to the Australia's first innings total to 318 at the Melbourne cricket ground. A total of 13 wickets fell in the event as a second day's play. And that's it in sports. I want to thank Brian for giving us all of that information in sports. Brian will be here tomorrow, and he'll be covering sports on the coffee hour. And speaking of sports, we know that that light at the end of the tunnel I always talk about when I always look forward to summer. Well, you know, when you talk about summer, you talk about baseball, and baseball will be returning as well, but we got to get by to the season. We haven't even talked about Super Bowl yet. That's on its way too. People are looking forward to that. So as we ring in a brand new year, and we're going to get brand new champions in the NFL, that's coming up pretty soon. So we're going to be looking forward to a lot of things, but I'm always looking in terms of baseball. And I'm hoping that this upcoming year, 2024, will be a better year for the New York Yankees. I mean, the New York Yankees were like down in the dumps. So have the New York Mets. And I discussed this information with people who are Met fans, and even though we're not rivals, we're not really, Mets and Yankees not really rivals. They're just different New York teams that New Yorkers are split with. Some, like myself, love the Yankees, and some love the Mets. But unfortunately, both teams had a bad season last season. So we're looking forward to that baseball season, and hopefully maybe the New York Yankees and the New York Mets will come straightforward, and it wouldn't harm, and I wouldn't throw it out the window if both at the end of the season, maybe I'm looking too far ahead of myself, I don't know. But I would love to see the New York Yankees and the New York Mets wind up doing the World Series in 2024. It almost happened. It almost happened once, right? The year before. It almost happened the year before. but it didn't happen. And then that's when they had the sour season, which was last season. But let's see what's happening this season. I just think maybe I'm just too ahead of myself. I'm talking baseball when I really should be talking Super Bowl. And I guess the reason why I'm not talking Super Bowl because the Minnesota Vikings are not playing. But the Minnesota Vikings will be playing a game on Sunday too as well. So it is a lot of things to be talked about. Now, if you're going to enjoy your New Year's, that's a good time to do it. I know that New Year's Eve, everybody will be out, but New Year's Day, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, are going to be staying home because they want to recuperate from the holiday, from all of the eating and all of the drinking and all of the other things that they do. And they just want to relax. And I couldn't think of a better way to do that than sit back and watch some of the football games that'll be displayed. But I'm definitely going to watch that Viking game that's on Sunday. And there's so many things. And of course, if you guys are into the Twilight Zone, of course, you have the Twilight Zone marathon coming up. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you better check your local listing first, but don't take this as gospel. But if I'm not mistaken, I think tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning or something, I think starts the Twilight Zone marathon. Tomorrow is Friday, and I think that's the day. If it's not that day, then it's Saturday. But one of those days, and you have that Twilight Zone marathon that's going to take you right through New Year's, and overnight to that day, Tuesday, 4 o'clock in the morning. I think it's something like that. So you have a lot of things to look at, Twilight Zone episodes, and then they had the honeymoon episodes for the Christmas holiday, right? I don't think they had that for New Year's. But the Twilight Zone episodes, they're all there. So there's so many things to look forward to. And of course, later on, maybe a couple of days afterwards, you're going to get ready to hoist that Christmas tree out that you had built up so much to make look pretty. And now, you're ready to just to let it go, untrim the tree. They say trim the tree, but now you're going to untrim the tree. And for those of you who don't trim trees, maybe you have those aluminum trees that look very pretty. I mean, remember in the old days? I don't know if they do it. When I was a kid at my house, when I was in middle school, but back then they call it junior high school in my day. But they call it middle school today. Back then, Mom always made home comfortable, and then we had this Christmas tree because I guess she got tired of spending the money. As trees go up, the money, the trees are expensive now. And I guess she got tired of that to get a whole Christmas tree. And it wasn't such a pain in the tail to untrim it. You got to take everything off and then you have to throw it out, but we had the aluminum tree, which at the bottom of the tree was a rotating colored lamp. Remember those days? Remember those? Some people still have theirs and they look great, and it reflect off the aluminum tree and make the tree turn different colors. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then when it was time to take the tree down, all we had to do is disassemble it. It was no problem. No problem. No fuss, no muss. Mom was very innovative. Anyway, you are watching Talk Back Live. And we're here for the duration. We're going to be here till the top of the hour. We hope that you stay with us because we have so many things to talk about. And if there's anything that you want to talk about in particular, we would love to have you do that. We would love to talk to you. And so just keep us in mind that we'll be with you all of this time. Invite your family and friends. And as I always say, if you're watching us on Facebook, tag all your friends, whatever's left of the show. You want to tag all of your friends and let them know that we're out here. And we're here for you and for everybody else who cares to indulge. And again, for you guys who are watching us on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, of course, that we want you to get involved with. We want you to subscribe to it. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go out there, do that. And it'll give you a chance to know whenever we come on live or post a video of some sort, you get notification. That's the whole good thing about being part of the YouTube channel, subscribing to us. It gives you that instant notification whenever we come on live, because a lot of you may forget about the show, but you may be online doing something, and then you'll get that pop-up, that information. And all you have to do is click onto that pop-up or that information or that instant message or that, and then it'll take you right, it'll bring you right to the YouTube channel. And for the rest of you guys, of course, watching us on Instagram, don't worry about it, just stay with us, and we'll be with you as well. And we're going to have a lot of fun together. How's that? Okay, it's that time. It's that time, and we're going to go back in time. As a matter of fact, we're going to go back in time. On this day in history, in 1860, Harriet Tubman arrives in Auburn, New York, and she was on her last mission to free slaves, having evaded capture for 8 years on the Underground Railroad. On this day in history, in 1904, the first daily wireless weather forecast was published in London. On this day in history, in 1925, George and Ira Gershwin's musical Tiptoes premieres in New York City. On this day in history, 1934, the film Bright Eyes premieres, starring Shirley Temple and featuring the song On the Good Ship Lollipop. On this day in history, in 1944, Leonard Bernstein, or Bernstein, wherever you're from, the musical On the Town premieres in New York City. On this day in history, in 1949, the 20th Century Fox announces it will produce TV programs. On this day in history, 1953, WLBT TV, Channel 3 in Jackson, Mississippi, an NBC station, begins broadcasting. On this day in history, 1963, Merle Haggett's first appearance on the country music chart with Singing a Sad Song. Back in 1968, 100,000 attended Miami Pop Festival. Performers include the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the Mothers of Invention, Chuck Berry, John Lee Hooker, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, and Blue Image. Back in 1968, the Beatles' White Album goes #1 and stays #1 for 9 weeks. Back in 1969, Neil Simon's play, Last of the Red Hot Lovers, premieres in New York. In 1973, US President Nixon signs, and I just want to make this perfectly clear, he signs Endangered Species Act into law. In 1976, Fiddler on the Roof opens at the Winter Garden Theater in New York City for 167 performances. In 1976, Winnie Mandela was banished in South Africa. In 1984, the TV soap Edge of Night, remember that? Ends 28 years, 28-year run. In 1994, The Madness of King George, starring Nigel Hawthorne and Helen Mirren, premieres in the United States. US President Woodrow Wilson was born on this day in 1856. He was born in Salton City, Virginia. He died February 3rd, 1924, at the age of 67 years old from a stroke. Back in 1915, Robot Pop Staples of the Staples Singers. He was born on this day in Winona, Mississippi. He passed away the year 2000. In 1921, Johnny Otis, R&B musician, songwriter, producer, and talent scout, was born in Valley Joe, California. He died 2012. In 1923, on this day in history, actor Andrew Duggan was born in Franklin, Indiana, and he died in 1988. On this day in history, 1933, newscaster Jack Perkins, who, of course, was on Primetime Sunday, NBC Magazine. Also, he did A&E biography. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he passed away 2019. On this day in history, 1934, actress Maggie Smith, who played Harry Potter, Death on the Nile, Clash of the Titans, and I believe she was on Sister Act as well, was born in Iford, England. She's 89 years old today, still alive and living. In 1940, on this day in history, jazz musician Lonnie Liston Smith was born in Richmond, Virginia. He's 83 years old today. Actor Denzel Washington was born in this day in 1954 in Vermont, New York. And he's 69 years old today. Back in 1963, TV host Good Morning America Willow Bay was born on this day in New York City. She's 60 years old today. Comedian Seth Meyers was born on this day in 1973 in Evanston, Illinois. He's 50 years old today. John Legend, singer John Legend, was born on this day in 1978 in Springfield, Ohio. He's 45 years old today. In 1956, on this day in history, Elizabeth Montgomery was actor Gay Young. And also in 1956, on this day, Patty Page weds choreographer Charles O'Curran in Las Vegas, Nevada. 1957, actress Natalie Wood weds actor Robert Wagner in Scottsdale, Arizona. They got divorced in 1962 and then remarried 10 years later. Back in 1960, musician Frank Zappa from Mothers of Inventions, he weds Catherine J. Sherman, and they got divorced in 1964. On this day in history in 1993, singer and songwriter Shania Twain weds recording artist and producer and record producer Robert Mudd Lang, and they got divorced in 2010. In 1993, country singer Billy Ray Cyrus weds Tish Finley. In 1997, actor Robert Carlyle weds makeup artist Anisha Shirley in Scotland. In 2008, actor Woody Harrelson from Cheers weds longtime girlfriend Lauren Louie in Hawaii. In 2010, actor Chris Hemsworth weds actress Elsa Pataki, and they got married in Indonesia. In 2011, actor Christopher Judge weds actress and model Gina Patton. In 1942, on this day in history, actress Janet Leigh granted an annulment of a 4-month marriage to her childhood sweetheart, John Kenneth Carlyle. In 2012, astronaut Buzz Aldrin divorced Lois Driggs Cannon after 23 years of marriage. In 1961, Edith Wilson, American First Lady and second wife of Woodrow Wilson, dies at the age of 89 years old. In 1976, blues singer Freddie King, that's the brother of B.B. King, dies at the age of 42 years old. In 1982, Dennis Wilson, drummer of the singer of the Beach Boys, drowns at the age of 39 years old. In 1983, actor William Demarest, you might know him from My Three Sons. He dies from pneumonia and prostate cancer at the age of 91 years old. He was one of those big legendary actors. In 1999, we all know Clayton Moore. Clayton Moore was the original Lone Ranger on TV. He died at the age of 85 years old. In 2010, jazz pianist Billy Taylor dies after a heart attack at the age of 89 years old. Actress Debbie Reynolds died on this day in 2016 at the age of 84 years old, died the day after her daughter, Carrie Fisher, passed away. And she was born Debbie was born April 1st, 1932 in El Paso, Texas. In 2017, comedian Rose Marie of the Dick Van Dyke Show dies at the age of 94. And finally, in 2018, Christine McGuire of the McGuire Sisters dies at the age of 92 years old. And that's what's happening on this day in history. Now, for those of you who may know something that's happening on this day in history, please let us know. All you have to do is just type it in. Let us know what the situation is, because I may not know what's happening. Donna was looking around to find more, and she did a good job with it. Thank you, Donna. And a lot of you guys, so if you have anything that I didn't mention that you happen to know about on this day in history, please let us know. And of course, we'll pass it along to all of you people who are watching right now. And speaking of watching, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Talkback Live. And I'm Frank Allen. I'm going to be with you till the top of the hour. For the rest of you who are watching us, remember that you can tag your friends if you're watching us on Facebook for the rest of the show, and let them all in if they like what they see, if they like what they hear. Of course, they'll be part of the action as well. We hope that they do. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, again, click on to my YouTube channel and subscribe to us. Just drag your mouse over there where it says subscribe and click onto it, and that's it. It'll give you a chance to know when we come on live or when we post a video of some sort. And for the rest of you guys who are watching us on Instagram, continue to watch us on Instagram. You don't have to do anything special. Just keep the word going about the show. That's all we ask you. Now, I know I ask a lot of you if you like to indulge in conversation, and if you don't, that's okay. But as long as you're out there, that's the most important thing. But what I want you to do, just in case you want to get in touch with me personally, I have information that I can convey to you how you can get in touch with me. All right. And if you have any questions that you don't want to convey to me on live, then of course you can do it privately. Of course, I'll be glad to ask for it. So I have two pieces of information I'd like to give you. First, I'm going to give you my email address, and then we have the telephone number. Now, the email address is frankallanprod@aol.com. Spell Allan, A-L-L-A-N. Please, would you do that? A lot of people said, I tried to contact you, but the email just jumped back to me. Well, I said, what did you type in? Well, I typed in A-L-L-E-N. A-L-L-A-N. Frank Allan, A-L-L-A-N. Prod is P-R-O-D. That's short for productions. It's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Now, if you get in touch with me, you can do it however you want to do it. You can call, or you could write, email me, and you may say, okay, I saw the show, but I have an idea. Especially come 2024, we can change up a little bit, or we can do this, we can add this, we can subtract this. I can't guarantee you that, but I'm going to listen to you to see what you have to say. And who knows, your ideas may be great. And maybe there's a person that you want to see on the show. Maybe you want to do more interviews, want me to do more interviews. I can do that. Some people want to come on the show. They have a new group, Unknown Groups, and they want to come on the show. I don't throw that out the window. All you have to do is ask, and we'll see what we can do. We can't promise you anything, but we'll see what we can do. All right. So as long as that's open, that's open. Keep that in mind. Anything at all, even if you just want to say hi, you're not wasting my time. I would love to say hello to you guys. Would love to say hello to you in person if you like, because I always acknowledge people when they come on and they want to conversate. I acknowledge them to let everybody know that they're out there. But listen, you email me, you call me, and keep that information with you wherever you go. Remember the time when you used to have a Rolodex? Remember the Rolodex? Now, a lot of you people may say, what is a Rolodex? Well, a Rolodex is one of those things that had little cards, and of course you roll it and you thumb through it and you see all kinds of phone numbers and addresses and things like that. And they were always used in the office. As a matter of fact, something, believe it or not, I still have my old Rolodex. I mean, I don't use it anymore, but it's a classic now. But you don't need a Rolodex anymore, because now you have your cell phone. Everything is in the cell phone. Everything is in the cell phone. Everything is in the cell phone. Everything is in a computer. You don't have to lose it. And if you think you're going to lose it, you can put it on a flash drive. You see, you've got so many things to work with, and you don't have to worry about losing anything. So keep that information on a telephone number and an email address. Let me give you the email address once again and the telephone number. Email address once again is frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. The telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Later on in the program, I have all of those movies I'm going to tell you about, direct from Turner Classic Movies. They're always my picks of the week for your weekend. And we're going to have that. We're going to provide that for you a little later on. Last week on the show, I mentioned the fact that 345/666 Beast Incarnate, better known to you as Donald J. Trump more. Okay. We already know the information that in Colorado, the Supreme Court in Colorado ruled out the fact that he should be on the primary ballot. So he's off the ballot for now. Okay. A lot of people are trying to follow suit on this. I don't know how far this is going to go, but congratulations, Colorado, stick to your guns. And the Supreme Court there. New York, where are you? New York, you there? Listen to me. Jump on board. Jump on board. That's my opinion. I would say jump on board. Anyway, this week, listen to this. Michigan court, that's the Supreme Court in Michigan, rejects latest effort to remove Donald J. Trump more from the 2024 primary ballot. So in Michigan, he stays on the ballot. Okay, in Michigan, he stays on the ballot. I can't tell you how much I was disappointed about that. Why am I disappointed? Why do I care? Do you live in Michigan? Do you live in Colorado, Frank? No. And even if I visit there, what difference does it make? I'm not a resident. I live here in New York. So why do you care so much about that? Well, I care so much about that because, I read off last week too, the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, which is part of the Constitution, right? And it's stating, and I'm just, paraphrasing here, that an officer like the President of the United States or anyone that holds office in that vein should not run for president if they're involved in an insurrection or comfort people who have involved themselves in the insurrection. And Donald J. Trump Moore is an officer or was an officer. You hold that position as President of the United States, that makes you an officer, right? And the reason why I'm upset about it, because it shouldn't be a question anymore about him running again. It shouldn't be a question about him losing that status again, about running, for any office ever again. It shouldn't be a question about that because it's the law. It's right there in black and white. I read it to you last week. It's right there, And of course, the Constitution was written many years ago, but that was to protect all of us. It was to protect all of us. And to break that, of course, you're violating it now. And believe it or not, if the courts rule on that, which some people say, like Chris Christie, he already said, I don't believe that they should do it that way. I think the people should vote, and the people will vote. The people will vote. There's no question about that. But he says, I don't think the court should be handling this or judging this or doing that. Well, something, the courts shouldn't have to do that. That should be like an automatic thing, something. The day that it happened, they said, hey, something, wait a minute, hold on. He's an insurrectionist. He got involved in the insurrection. So it says here in the Constitution, he can't, he's got to be taken off the ballot. That just doesn't go for any state. For all states, all around, everywhere, just period, off the ballot, and so Michigan decided that they were going to do that. So the way I see it, ladies and gentlemen, again, I already read before came on the top of the show. I already read the disclaimer, and so I'm going to be free to say, I don't think I don't think it's right that they just bypass the Constitution like that. 14th Amendment says this. And so if I were to do it, or if you were to do it, if anyone else were to do it, then that would be the end of us. And so I am counting, well, I'm not going to count on it. I was going to say counting on the Supreme Court to do their duty, but we can't count the way it looks now. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be later before this whole thing happens, but the way it looks now, it looks like all of us are going to have to use our heads, use our mind, and use our votes properly to let people know that we're not going to take this anymore. Now you have to make your decision. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you know what? I'm not going to vote for Donald J. Trump more. I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden because, he's low in the ratings and he's not doing this, he's not doing that. But ladies and gentlemen, this is all we have right now. This is all we have right now. The rest of them who are running, they're just, I think they're just going through the motion. I hope they know that, because although, Nikki Haley, she's boosted up in her ratings in the polls. She's boosted up, but then again, I don't believe the polls anyway, so it doesn't matter. And they say in the polls, Trump is ahead of Joe Biden. Trump more is ahead of Joe Biden. That's debatable. Again, I don't believe in polls, so we just have to see how it works out, because it's still early in the game right now. And I think November 5th of 2024 is election day. I believe it's the 5th. Yeah, November 5th. And that's where we're going to be voting for a president. So the question is, knowing this is all you have right now, you have Donald J. Trump more and you have President Joe Biden. Okay? Now you have to weigh it out. Then you're going to have to ask yourself, okay, neither one of them. I don't want to vote for neither one of them. But I know I have to vote, so this is all we have, folks. This is all we have. So you have to decide whether you're going to vote for the man that's going to continue to do the job and protect the Constitution of the United States as he's been doing, or you're going to vote for the guy who, once he gets into office, and he already told you that he's going to abolish the Constitution. And I would like to know how that works, because when you're sworn in as president, and he's got to be, if he wins, let's say he wins for the sake of argument, if he wins, then he's going to have to take the oath to get in. And you know what the oath says? To protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. He's going to have to say that. And so after he does that, then he'll make the switch, but he's sworn. And speaking of swearing, putting your hand on the Bible, I do not want to stand next to this guy when lightning strikes, that's for sure. And now you have the other runner-ups. You have Nikki Haley, who's in front of the rest of them. And then you have the other two, Nikki Haley, and then you have Ron DeSantis. Now, Ramaswamy, forget about him. Ramaswamy, in my opinion, will never, ever be president of the United States. Not in this country, not in this lifetime. He will never, ever be president of the United States. He's stupid. He's obnoxious. He's arrogant. He's, maybe I'm gonna walk that back, because I already described Donald Trump already, and he made president. So I'm going to walk that back. Stranger things has happened. But nevertheless, I'm urging all of you who are going out to vote, please go out and vote, and do wisely. Do what your heart tells you to do, because for those of you who are Trumpeteers, right? Keep in mind that if your boy wins, you're not going to do any better than the rest of us. You're not going to do any better than the rest of us. But then here it is. You don't care anywhere. You don't care. So it doesn't matter. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move on to other things because we're almost time to go. But what I have for you are those movies I always tell you about, those Turner Classic movies. They're my picks of the week. They're always my picks of the week, and I already have them for you because a lot of you may want to be part of the movie scene and want to jump in there and watch something that you haven't seen in a long time. Well, I have a few additions for you, just in case you want to just check it out. Because the holiday season is here, you may and you may not care, but just in case you want to end off the old year with some great movies, well, I have some for you. Let's get started right away. Here's one called Houseboat. That's back in 1958, and it stars Cary Grant, Sophia Loren. Cary Grant and Sophia Loren. Nice little romantic comedy. I don't like romantic comedies. Not, at least not today's, but the one back in the 50s, they're pretty good. But this one is a pretty good one. And it comes on Turner Classic Movies. You can check it out. It's on Friday at 8 p.m. For us, that's tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern, that's Houseboat. Cary Grant and Sophia Loren. Here's an Alfred Hitchcock movie that everybody likes. Everybody's going to be happy about it. The Birds, 1963, Rod Taylor, Tippi Hedren, and Suzanne Pleshette. You like The Birds? Like Psycho. It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie back in 1963. And you could see that. It comes on Turner Classic Movies. You can see that Saturday. It comes on at decent times. So you can watch it. 4 p.m. Eastern. Right there on Turner Classic Movies. A great one. And here's one of my all-time favorites. I watch it all the time. I have it in my archives. So do I have The Birds. And all of those other Alfred Hitchcock movies. But here's one that I like. From 1960, starring Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis. Aren't they known as the Rat Pack? Yeah. Turner Classic Movies, Ocean's 11 on Turner Classic Movies. You can check that out Sunday at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Sunday at 8 a.m. Now, if that's a little too early for you, do what I do. DVR it and watch it at another time. Ocean's 11. Now, that's coming on, again, that's Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern, right there on Turner Classic Movies. Now, Ocean's 11, that's the original. That's the original. I'm not talking about this one with George Clooney. You know, I kind of like, I got wiped out with George Clooney Ocean's 11 because it got ridiculous when they tried to remake Ocean's 11, and then they come out with Ocean's 12, and then there's Ocean's 13. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Forget about it. This is the original one. You'll like this one. And you can go on Turner Classic Movies and go on the program guide and scroll through it. And you might check out other movies that I haven't mentioned that you see there. Say, hey, that's a good one. Let me watch that one too. How come he didn't mention it? Well, it wasn't my pick. Not that I don't like it. These are my picks of the week. But that's why I always direct you. After I read them off to you, that's why I direct you over to the Turner Classic Movies and watch the program guide so you can check out other ones. I'm not selfish. There's other ones you can check out. You can check them out in real time, or you can DVR them, just like I told you before. You can do that. And when you go on to Turner Classic Movies, you want to keep going and scrolling through and go on all of the other movies. And as they call them, movies on demand, right? You have all of those movies from the past that you haven't seen in a long time. There's a chock full of them from A to Z. And they're right there. You can go through the listings and check them out. They're right there. And of course, if you like sporting events, there's a lot of great sporting events too as well. And a lot of kiddie shows, a lot of great documentaries. And by the way, if you miss a sporting event, chances are you can catch it the following day on demand, sometimes without commercial interruption. Not all the time, but sometimes without commercial interruptions. Just like I like to watch all of my wrestling matches. And if I miss one, I can always go the next day, depending on what network is on. I can go there and watch it on demand following day. So you can do that. So let me give you these movies one more time. You got Houseboat with Cary Grant, Sophia Loren. That's on Turner Classic Movies. That's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Birds with Rob Taylor, Tippi Hedren, and Suzanne Pleshette. That's Turner Classic Movies Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And Ocean's 11, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Turner Classic Movies. That's Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. And it's all right there on Turner Classic Movies. I hope you do enjoy it. They're great movies. I hope you do. Well, this is our last show, our very last show for the year of 2023. And when we come back next week, it'll be a brand new year. And we hope that this brand new year will make it a great year for all of us. And so with that in mind, I just want to say to you guys, have a happy, happy new year. And we'll see you back here next week. But tomorrow, we'll be back here at 10 a.m. for the coffee hour. And Brian Camp will be with me, of course, this time around. You have the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. In the meantime, come back here next year, which is next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a happy new year. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you. Happy New Year!
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.